There we go. Okay, I'm live on YouTube and Facebook. Okay. All righty. Just waiting for everyone to turn up. Okay. All righty. By the way, while we're waiting, I'd love to know where you're from. I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. So where are you from? I'm on YouTube. By the way, YouTube is where I save all of my lives. And these lives can get really busy, not so much on Facebook, but on Instagram and TikTok, they can get really busy. So the best place to watch these lives is probably YouTube, because that's where I see, it's my smallest platform. So I'm going to see most of those comments. Indianapolis. Hello, Kate. Welcome. So where are you from? Okay, I'm just waiting for everyone to turn up. God, I've had a crazy morning. San Jose, California, welcome. And Tennessee. Hello, April. Okay. Ooh, Hertfordshire, UK. Hertfordshire. Am I even close, Kelly? Hertfordshire? Hertford. It wouldn't be Shire. What, Hertfordshire or Hertfordshire? Sounds like I have cotton in my mouth. Indianapolis, is that it? North Carolina. Close enough. Close enough. Hertfordshire. Whatever. Okay. St. Louis, Missouri. Okay. Okay, so let's get going. My name is Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go in the link above, you can see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses. I have 2 of them now. Toddlers includes all of the mini toddler courses in that as a bonus. And then the bigger one is the 3 to 12-year-old, or you can look into coaching. So thanks so much for joining me. I got my granddaughter coming over today. See, I got the whole play thing. It's one of those jolly jumpers, like freestanding jolly jumpers. Anyway, thing's gigantic. But I set it up in front of the mirror. Because I figured if she's anything like her father and her grandmother, we like to look at ourselves while we're working out. So I figure she'll be jumping and looking at herself. That's the plan. Never goes as planned. Okay, Newfoundland, Canada, welcome. Okay, so let's go with your parenting questions now. How to deal with 16-month-old who melts down when she can't see her parents who work from home behind closed doors. Is she all alone on the other side of closed doors? Like who's looking after her? So yeah, is she all alone? Like, I don't know what you mean. Is someone else looking after her? I'm assuming. When children 6 and 7 just keep saying no when you ask them to do something, oh, well, there's going to be a consequence. If you repeat yourself, you're just begging. They're not going to listen to you. So yeah, just say, well, you don't have to do anything, but there'll be a consequence if you don't do it. But make sure that it's something that they need to do. Don't use it for everything. So if they have to, let's say, put their dishes in the dishwasher and they haven't done it, there's a consequence if they don't. So there's no TV that night or something. I don't know. Check out the behavior board. You'll see how this is all done. Housekeeper's looking after. Oh, so yeah, they're just going to have to get used to it. Have a ritual. Say goodbye. Don't keep coming and going behind with the door. So have a ritual where you say bye-bye. And then you might want to even try and sneak out somehow. Could the housekeeper take the child outside of the house or somewhere else? And then you sneak in there, but I'm assuming they'd probably hear you anyway. But yeah, they're just going to have to get used to that. It is tricky when parents work from home. I know that I had a client who asked me about the same age child, and they said, how can I teach them that when I'm on a call, they can't interrupt me? They were like a baby. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I couldn't imagine how you would do that. But yeah, they don't understand. It's tough when they know you're on the other side of the door. They don't understand that, but they're just going to have to get used to it. Some things, everyone wants this magic pill. Like, how do we fix this? Some things just take time. I feel sorry for the housekeeper. Naugatuck, Connecticut. I often say that wrong. Connecticut. It never can stop. Connecticut. I know. But Naugatuck, Connecticut. Gee, that was a mouthful. Welcome. Okay. Birmingham. It's watching. I lived in Australia for about 20 years. So I get really good at the Australian accent, but I couldn't understand them at first, especially on the phone, because you can't see them. You can't, like, it's just different. So I remember I kept saying, what? And I was at work and they were all laughing at me. They'd all crowd around. If I was covering the receptionist on the phone, they'd all crowd around just to listen to me go, I can't understand you. Ooh, that was loud. Someone upstairs. But anyway, so yeah, I got good at it after 20 years. Auckland, New Zealand. We used to ski in Queenstown, New Zealand when we lived in Australia. I don't know what they're doing upstairs. Sounds like a kid up there. Okay, do you think it makes a difference when dad is not in the picture very often? How can I establish myself as a leader, as a mom to 2 boys, 12 and 9, especially when they're seemingly becoming more angry? Yeah, you might want to check out the boot camp course that teaches you how to be a leader. It's not a quick, easy fix. You got to work on it. But yeah, it goes up to 12, but 12 is like it could probably go up to 13, 14, but I cut it off at 12. So all 12-year-olds would be applicable for that course, but some 13, 14 even. So yeah, I can't teach leadership on here. Like I can talk about it, but it's a whole process. It takes 5 weeks to learn how to do that. And then you got to keep doing it. You got to keep working at it, because the older they get, the longer it's going to take for this to really cement in. Getting respect is hard work. Maintaining it's easy, but getting it is the work. You got to work for it. You got to earn it. Okay. I don't know what they're doing upstairs. Sounds like they've got a chain and they're throwing it on the ground. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Often it's really loud here, but the microphones don't pick it up. But yeah, it's quite loud. There's not a lot of kids. I live downtown, so there's not a lot of kids in my building. But this one's quite noisy. She only visits on weekends, so. Okay, I've worked from home and my 4 next month begins daycare 2 days a week next week. Is there a good way to prep her for being left for the first time? Nope. You can't prepare a child, or you can't prepare adults for things either. It's like, how do you prepare for being a mother the first time? You got to do it. It's just so, it's certain things you just have to experience. There's no preparation. But I'll tell you what I did with my kids, which might have helped a little, but even then, was we visited the preschool or the kindy where they were going, and I'd pack a lunch just like they were going to go there, and then we'd sit outside the grounds because you couldn't get in because it was all gated off. So we'd sit outside on a blanket and have a picnic, and I'd point out the playground and we'd talk about it, so they were a little bit more familiar with it. But yeah, you can't prepare them. You can't protect your children from everything. They just have to go through some things. But do the dump and run. Don't make a big deal out of goodbyes or hellos, like as if it's traumatic. Just say, okay, we'll see you later. As you leave, say, see you later, in that real upbeat tone, and keep it short but sweet. Dump and run. The people who run these schools, daycare centers, kindies, preschools, whatever, they're used to separation anxiety. I need advice on a sleep routine. My 2-year-old daughter, she's not used to noise, and her grandfather is really noisy. I end up sleeping with her. Well, I don't know the situation. Check out my bedtime battles course. That might be something you can check into. You might need a sound machine or something to block out. I don't know what grandfather's doing. Is he snoring? And how close is he? Like, I don't know what's going on. My daughter is 10 and a half. She's been on a roller coaster ride of mood swings. How do we navigate her moods? Check out the boot camp course. That's 3 to 12-year-olds, and it teaches you how to be a leader. When you're a leader, it tends to calm them down. They feel taken care of. They regulate their emotions. You can't regulate their emotions. They have to. So when they have a calm leader as a parent, it tends to regulate them. By the way, someone told me that other parenting coaches, pretty big, I don't know any other parenting coaches, they're talking about calm leadership now. Huh. I invented that. So yeah, good. I'm glad they're spreading the word. I don't think they're probably giving me credit for it though. That's okay. That's okay. How to properly deal with constant competition between 9-year-old and 4-year-old girls. We are blended home. Oh, okay. Competitiveness you can avoid if there's no winner or loser. So if you're playing a game, do stuff like dance parties or something. If they're girls, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, do something like TikTok dances or something where there's no winner and there's no loser. And yeah, that you can help that way potentially. Because a lot of parents do focus on winning and losing as if that's a good thing. I wasn't raised like that. Like we played, I played to win, but I don't care if I win because my mother always focused on how well we played. So she was so proud of the fact that we were good sports. And I never understood that when I was a kid. She used to, oh, you're such a good sport. She was always talking like that. And I thought, what do you mean? I didn't know what that meant. And then I realized it's that we weren't sore losers because she never focused on losing or winning. It wasn't a big deal. So yeah, she said it's better to play well and lose than to win through luck. So yeah, we play to win though, but we don't care if we do, if that makes any sense. I have a 13-month-old. Is it too early to start consistent corrective actions? Are you starting? We do start at 16 months, but you can sort of, but you never want to discipline a baby to make them cry. And they're babies up until about 15, 16 months. So you never want to say no and take something away from them. Like not that you get that violent with an older kid anyway, but you never want to make them cry, but you're letting them know they are learning right from wrong. Toddlers kind of already know it, but they choose not to listen to it. They're a slow burn. They take a while. They don't have impulse control, okay? It's not their fault. They're just toddlers. They learn eventually over time through consistent corrective actions. But I'm going to give you my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers, which might make your life a little bit easier. I know I was really big on this. Was number 1, childproof your home so you never have to say no. We never had anything in our house below the waist. It was all up high. One of my viewers was laughing. They said, oh, I see you still put your plants up high. Anyway, so yeah, childproof your home so you never have to say no. Just made life easier. I didn't have to watch my kids or other kids when they visited. And it was great for visitors with little kids too, because they didn't have to worry about it. Number 2 is set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. Number 3, when you want to connect with a toddler, you do so in their world. You don't go to the nail salon with them. You go to the park and roll down the hill with them. You play with them, not watch them. You play with them. Number 4, when you want to discipline a toddler, you do so in their world. They're not about words, they're about actions. You use consistent corrective actions, and they learn through repetition. It can be frustrating because they don't learn very quickly. Even though they know what to do, they understand it. That's not what makes them keep doing the bad thing. It's a lack of impulse control. Parents keep trying to explain everything. They understand it. They just choose not to listen to you. It's not a lack of understanding that makes them go in the wrong direction. Okay, and number 5 is stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They're just forming. They've only got one marble and some tumbleweed in here. Okay, what time is it? Let me see. I'm kind of in a rush today. I got my grandkid coming over today. Look at the little jolly jumper thing I got all set up over there in front of the mirror. So she can work out in front of the mirror like her dad likes to do and like her grandma likes to do. So anyway, yeah, I still got to prepare for that. So I'm going to hop over to Instagram now, and I'm on YouTube the whole time. That's where I save all these lives. So thanks so much for joining me. Check out the link above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses. I have 2 of them now, toddlers and 3 to 12-year-olds, and you can look into coaching. So I'm hopping over to Instagram now. Happy parenting. Bye now. Whoops. Come on, Facebook. There we go. Okay, let me see here. When my 2-year-old fights diaper changes and getting dressed, should I stop and wait or keep changing her while ignoring the behavior? Keep changing her. You take action. You show her that you're in charge. That's what I did with my kids. Their behavior, their fighting me made no difference in what I was doing. I just kept, and then they just learned. They just stopped fighting me. They just learned. They fought their dad, on the other hand. He was more inclined to sort of, do you want a toy? He was trying to negotiate with them, whereas mom never did that. Yeah, I just keep following through, but stay calm, okay? And their diaper may end up on their head. I mean, it's not easy, but yeah, I went through the storm to get to the rainbow. Everyone's trying to get to the rainbow without the storm, but then there's no rainbow. That's what they find out. All this please your parents stuff where you're trying to negotiate and discuss everything. It's a disaster. Yeah, there is no rainbow at the end of that one. Okay. Welcome to Instagram. Just a sec. Am I on Instagram? Yeah. Okay. I can't tell the difference between any of them, really. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, when I'm on a live, they all look the same in my mind anyway. Okay. I'm pretty sure I'm on Instagram. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, okay, so let's get going. Check out the link above. You can see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses. I have 2 of them, toddlers, and then I have a child one, 3 to 12. Or you can look into coaching. I have a wait list for coaching, but I might take you on today because I mix up the ages. And I've got a whole bunch of a certain age right now, and I probably won't take any more of those on. I'm looking for other ages right now. Is it too late to learn self-regulation at 9? It's not. I'm 63, and it's never too late to learn these things. It's never, ever too late. Life teaches us lessons every single day we go out there. It's basically how the world reacts to how we act. Okay, so think about it, right? But yeah, no, self-regulation. I specialize in troubled teenagers. It's never too late. Okay, my 3-year-old always speak to me so rudely. It's really getting me down. Okay, I've tried to be firm, but okay, I don't talk like that. I don't talk about being firm. I talk about consequences and being a leader. And anyway, check out the boot camp course for 3 to 12-year-olds. That's all about you and your leadership. If you don't want to buy the course, you can get the free behavior board for free. It just goes through the behavior board. The course goes after the behavior board because we don't use that forever. You can if you want, but it's sort of, you want to be, anyway, the behavior board is sort of the training wheels of all this. And, but yeah, check out the course. You might be a good fit for you. And you're not alone, not alone. Lots of my clients are dealing with guilt, and they think, why are my kids so awful to me? And why do I feel like crap every day? I hate getting up because I know my kids are going to wipe their feet all over me. But you don't have to live like that. That's what I'm here for. I'm teaching you how not to live like that. Okay. The video is frozen. So typical now that I finally cut you live. Usually just does that at the start, I think. I don't know. I've never seen a live, actually. I don't know how they go. I only do them. I've never seen one. How hard is it to parent an adopted child who has tantrums, shouting, and lashing? Well, being adopted has nothing to do with that unless they have trauma. But I was adopted. I didn't tantrum or anything. But don't treat them any differently, you know? Yeah. How to make my 3-year-old son stop hitting me? Put no hitting on the behavior board. That's free above, or you can look into the boot camp course. That's just the next level up. Okay. He's hitting you. He's 3 years old. He's hitting you because he doesn't respect you. We don't fix kids here. We're teaching and fixing parents. You act a certain way, they will react a certain way, right? Children who are out of control, you're usually reacting to them. I don't do that. I act and they react to me. That's a leader. You lead, they will follow. It's just a natural instinct. All children instinctively need, crave, and want a leader. If you're not a leader for them at home and you send them out in the world, they're going to be very susceptible, very vulnerable to bullying, peer pressure, the drug dealer on the corner, the internet, the Kardashians. You get the idea. They're going to go searching leadership elsewhere because they need it. They crave it. They want it. They don't know how to ask for it. Often hitting you is the way they ask for it. They don't know how to articulate that. You know, they don't say, excuse me, can you please be a leader for me? Because I desperately need that. They just don't articulate that. The quickest kids for me to turn around when I was working with kids were the most difficult ones. It's almost like when they come up against a calm leader, they go like this. Oh, finally. That's what they've been acting up for. That is their, please lead. I need a leader. That's what they do. They act out. What do you think about a behavior board for a friend with a kid that stays with you? Oh, I don't talk about how you deal with other kids at all. Nope, not at all. I only teach parenting. What if the parents didn't like what I recommended? Then you'd blame me. You see what I mean? I only teach parenting. I don't teach anything else. 2-year-old boy started to hit mom if she doesn't agree or respond to him. What is your suggestion? When they're under the age of 3, you can't put them on the behavior board. You use consistent corrective actions. Every single time they hit, you say no, you take their hand away, and then you prevent future hits. And then you take them away from the fun or the fun away from them, just temporarily. But it's got to be consistent. It's hard work, but it's worth it. I get asked this sometimes, not so much. Most people who hire me for coaching have been watching me for a while, so they kind of already know how I'm going to react to this. But a lot of people will say, well, how do I teach him right from wrong without the scenes? No one wants the tantrums, the fits, the meltdowns, and the scenes. If your kids are inclined to do that and they're already doing that, they're going to get worse before they get better. It's just the way it is. The scenes are them learning. That is their process, how they're learning. Wait a minute, I'm not in charge. I'm going to kick up a real stink until I give in. They're going to test you to see if you really are a leader. So yeah, you can't avoid this stuff. But that's like that 8-year-old kid that I was asked to work with. I'd never met him before. And he said to me, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to have a fit. And he said it with that filthy face. And I said to him, bring it on. And he never did. Okay. They know when they're up against a leader. They get it. But you've got history with your kids. And I'm level 10 with what I teach because I invented all this. So, but when you're learning, it's not going to be quite that easy. But they crave it. See, he knew what he was up against and he didn't bother fighting. He was great with me. He was happy. Are they happy when they're miserable? When they say something, you know what I mean? That's not happiness. Ill-behaved children have very low self-esteem and they're not happy. You can't be happy when you're mean, when you're acting out. It's impossible. So yeah, you want your kids to like themselves. Give them something to be proud of. And good behavior is a good place to start. And I used to tell my kids, never be proud of the gifts you were given when you were born. Like my son was gifted for sure, not in every single way, but he's a great problem solver. You know, he just got stuff easy. He was just different. And I told him, never be proud of that. That was just a gift you were given. That's why they call it gifted. And I told my daughter, she was very beautiful. And I said, never be proud of that. I said, be grateful. Be grateful for the gifts you were given. Be proud of how you act and how you treat people. That's all I ever focused on. I never went on and on and on about how they looked. And you know what I mean? It's not that I didn't acknowledge it, but it wasn't what I focused on. I focused on them being nice people. I didn't want them riding on their laurels or, you know what I mean? That's that entitled stuff. Can your 2-year-old behavior be redirected or do you have to wait till she's 3? Oh, you can redirect it, but it's hard work when they're toddlers. But they do pick up on your energy. They don't like your disapproval even when they're 2. When you're a leader, because you're fun, you play with them. That's a big part of it. Their love language is fun. But yeah, it's doable, but it takes time. I have a toddler course if you're interested. You might want to check that out. It was funny because I said, I'll never do a boot camp course on toddlers because what am I going to say? Toddlers are crazy, the end. But then I did a poll and everyone said what they wanted me to talk about. I think there's 53 segments, but they're all like little mini lessons. But basically, if they do something bad, you say, you use consistent corrective actions, but you say no, and then you take action. Don't do the mini therapy sessions. They're not about words. That's for you, not for them. I know it's trendy right now. They're going to agree with you. I've even had parents say, I explained why it hurt me when they hit them, and they did it again. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I can't believe you can't believe that. Like they weren't listening to you. They were just parroting you. It didn't sink in. They don't have impulse control. They learn that through consistent corrective actions over time. It's a different way of learning. It's like they might touch a hot stove 10 times, but they won't the 11th time. But it's not so much a thought process, it becomes more of a habit. Okay? Yeah, they don't really think it through. They don't really stop and think before they act. But they can learn, but it takes more time. And just focus on one battle per week. Like you don't want to take all the stuff that they do that you want to correct. Just pick one thing. It's usually hitting. Just pick one thing that you want to correct first and start there. But you got to catch it every single time. Kids are brilliant at remembering what you did wrong and forgetting what you did right. They just are. I remember my teenage son and I were talking, we were laughing at all the dumb things I've done, usually around cooking. Whenever I would say, I know what I'll do, the kids would run because it would just be a disaster. That dinner would end up in the garbage. Anyway, so we were laughing at all the dumb things I've done. So then I said to him, and we're laughing, like we're wetting ourselves, we're laughing so hard. Anyway, and then I said to him, what about all the great stuff I've done? And he went, huh? Very funny. But you know what I mean? They remember all the silly stuff, all the dumb stuff, all the mistakes you made. So when you're trying to correct their behavior, don't make mistakes then. Like I didn't make any mistakes with that stuff, or very few when I was correcting. And the rest of the time, yeah, lots of mistakes. There is no consequences for a 2-year-old boy. The consequences start at 3. You just use consistent corrective actions. It's got to be right in the moment. No talking. They're not about words. That's for you. That's not for them. They're not about words. They're about actions. Another thing, oh boy, I get into this with clients who have child development degrees or maybe child psychologists who are my clients sometimes, and they'll argue this. I say, praise is overrated. Parents tend to overpraise and underplay. I never praise good behavior. And they'll say, why not? And I say, well, because I make sure they've got a really good life when they're well behaved, but I don't praise good behavior. And I'll tell you why. I figured out how to explain this. It's like at the end of the day, if they haven't hit all day and they've been really good, and parents just will say something like this: you were so good, you didn't hit all day today. Very good. Here's a chocolate or whatever. Think about that. What if your spouse said to you, you were so good today, you weren't annoying all day? Think about it. Think about it. How would you react? It's the same thing. It's very patronizing, condescending, and insulting. So yeah, that's why I don't praise good behavior. I just expect that. That's just a gimme. That's my baseline. Right? And I used to say to my kids, if you're good, life is good. I'll make sure of that. And if you're bad, life won't be so good. I'll make sure of that too, because I'm your mom and that's my job. So what I taught them was, it's all you. It's your choice how your life is. And they had a great life. They were easy kids because they understood it was up to them. How long does consistent corrective actions take to see results for toddlers? Okay, it could be one action. With children who really are born pleasers, they don't like confrontation. They're the ones who never have a tantrum, and they think before my daughter was like that. She was very cautious, so it would just take one time. My son would have taken 20 or 30. He had tantrums, just different temperament. He didn't have the impulse control that she was born with. Okay, it's rare. She was rare. I've actually never worked with a kid that easy before. And then when I had her, I thought there was something wrong with her. She was so easy. It wasn't me. She was just born that way. She's still, to this day, she's 29. She's very much, she thinks before she acts. She's very cautious. It's just the way she is. She thinks before she does anything. Yeah, I'm more impulsive for sure. And my son is more impulsive for sure. Yeah, it's just different temperaments. But yeah, my son would have taken quite some time to learn something. If he really liked doing something, it would take it on. He was what I would call an easy toddler, but he did have tantrums, but not a lot of them. Yeah, some of them are wild. I've worked with some real wild ones, the active ones. And boy, imagine if you're running at a high speed, how much impulse control are you going to have running around? They're cute as a button, but yeah, they're a lot of work. And whenever I was working with kids, it was all volunteer work. I never had a degree or anything, never wanted one. It was just all mentoring and mothering kids in hospitals, schools, homes, wherever, detention centers, psych wards, wherever. I was just a mentor, basically, a behavioral mentor. And I loved it. But it was fascinating to me that the kids would introduce themselves, and they all had ADHD and all these other things. When they introduced themselves to me, they would include their diagnoses. Hi, I'm Johnny. I have ADHD and WXYZ. It always struck me as kind of sad, So I said, I don't care about that. Your name, you're just Johnny to me. Like I never opened up a file or anything. But it struck me as funny that little kids would introduce themselves with their diagnosis, their behavioral diagnosis attached. How interesting, eh? I have my opinions on that. I'll keep them to myself. I don't think I did, though, did I? I'm not very good at that. Okay. Your advice is great for intermediary elementary too. 5th grade teacher here. Yeah, thank you so much for teaching. You guys are gods to me. I could never teach. A lot of stuff is a crossover with kids, with teaching in schools and home, but a lot isn't. So a huge portion of my clients are teachers, principals, child psychologists, daycare workers. But yeah, I couldn't do their jobs or your jobs at all. God, I admire that. You know how many classrooms I've sat in just dealing with difficult kids and watching that teacher thinking, God, I would never do that. I could never do your job. So yeah, some stuff does cross over. The bottom line, I believe, is you've got to give your children something to be proud of. And good behavior is a wonderful thing to be proud of. So, and they just know when they're liked, and people like them more when they're good. And it's just sort of win, 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 right? Yeah. Oh, I don't do timeout. You must be new here, Fran Life. Yeah, I don't do timeout. Can't stand it. I think it's humiliating. Anyway, I got to move over now because I've got stuff going on today. I got to move over to TikTok. So check out the link above. You can see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses. I have one for toddlers, one for 3 to 12-year-olds, or you can look into coaching. I have a wait list for that, but I'm trying to mix up the ages right now. So I could even take you today, depending on the age, but I don't want to tell you that right now. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I'm on YouTube the whole time. That's where all of my lives are saved. And anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'm hopping over to TikTok. Bye now. TikTok starts with ads now. It didn't used to. It's kind of annoying. Okay, there we go. How to wean off breastfeeding at, oh, you're right behind the heart. I can't see it. 2, well, I don't know the age. I think it said about 2. So this is a YouTube question. How do you wean them at 2 years old? Well, I did my daughter was 14 months. My son was 10 months old. He weaned himself. And he just had no interest. He wanted to look around and take my boob with him. So anyway, he weaned himself. My daughter was 14 months. You just have to, I dressed differently. I never sat down. So we did it on holidays and my husband was there. So I never gave her a lap. She could never sit in my lap. And if I did happen to sit down, I was dressed differently. So she couldn't get access. Right. So, and I just said, that's it. I also bought her sippy cups and I said, no more, all that stuff. But yeah, it's just going to be rough. You just got to go through the storms to get to the rainbow. You can't make everything easy for them. I know you want to, but you can't. That's part of life. If you're trying to make everything easy for your kids, right? A lot of people want to do this right through the years. They'll even go into school and try and tell the teacher that their kids don't like certain things and all this. You're going to raise self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. They've got to learn that sometimes things are tough, and that's okay. It's okay. Breastfeeding is one of those things. It's tough being weaned. And also separation anxiety. That's another one of those things. And having consequences when you make a poor choice. That's another one of those things. So did I introduce myself already? I can't remember. Did I? Maybe I didn't. Anyway, I'll do it now. I can't remember because I hop around from Facebook to Instagram to TikTok. Anyway, I hit 700,000 this week on TikTok. So thanks so much for your support. I really appreciate that. This is my biggest platform. It goes TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and then YouTube. YouTube, I think I got about 10,000. Oh no, my daughter said I've got 17,000 on there now. So that's just my smallest platform. That's all. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah. Anyway, check out the link above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses, 3 toddlers, and then one from 3 to 12, or you can look into coaching. Okay. So let's get going here. Okay, how to deal with a big tantrum. You got a 7-year-old. Tantrums usually stop anywhere from 3.5 to 4 years old. If they're still having them, that's a tell. It means you're not a leader. They don't respect you. You must give in. You must get angry. You must yell. You have to. All that stuff is a tell. So anyway, check out my boot camp course for you, 3 to 12 years old. That would be my best recommendation. At the very least, check out my free behavior board. But if you think you're going to buy the course, don't do that behavior board without the course. There's a lot more information in the course, obviously. And the reason why is it 3 to 12 years old? Because that's the height of your leadership. That's the height of when your strength of your leadership. 3 to 12 years old, they want to please you. Under that, then not so much because they're toddlers, they're just forming. And then like teenagers, you want them to be more their own leaders. Parenting shifts and changes in the teen years. Teenagers are my favorite age. There's nothing wrong with them. They're not difficult at all. It's just that parents don't adjust to the teen years. That's the problem. What's going on? He's all moody and doesn't want to do, that's teenagers. That's adjusting to the teen years. I'm going to read out my top 4 tips for parenting teenagers. Number 1 is you listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. And by the way, they already know it. And negotiate as much as possible. Say something like this. Hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper. What do you want from me? It's called reciprocity, mutual respect. Okay. And don't sweat the small stuff with teenagers. If they do something stupid and it's not a big deal, just say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age or this morning? I mean, laugh it off. It's okay to make mistakes. Don't be judgmental. They're not going to tell you anything. And number 4 is don't leverage the good times to discuss the bad times. So in other words, like when I'm working with a client and I get them connected with their teenager, which is hard work, and then we get them connected, they're actually going out and doing something together. And then sometimes the parents will want to bring up the bad times. Well, because they want to leverage that good, you're just going to wreck it. They're going to tell you to F off and they're going to take off on you and they won't want to go out with you again. So, and then the parent can't understand why. And I'm like, yeah, you can't figure that one out. They think that you're a safe place to land and that you're going to be positive and you're going to have fun and just enjoy them. And then you want to discuss how they've disappointed you for the past 2 years. Come on, figure that one out. That's pretty dirty actually to do that, because it's a false sense of security and then you rip out the rug from underneath them. So a lot of parents do that. Not once I started working with them usually, but they've admitted they've done it. I get it, but it's not going to get you where you want to go. Can you have a 2-leader household? Absolutely. Oh, by the way, both parents are leaders and strong-willed. I'm not strong-willed, but I'm a leader. Yeah, I'm not strong-willed at all. I'm not stubborn. So leadership doesn't go with strong-willed. I don't know where you're getting that from. Maybe you're talking about the authority. Authorities are strong-willed and stubborn. Can be, but a leader isn't. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, you can have 2 leaders, but there usually is one clear, the more dominant. It's the one that the kids will tell everything to right through the teen years. Someone said, I like it when people say, oh, good point or well put. And I never know what they're talking about. Should I actually make a good point? I don't even know what it was. Sometimes I'll say stuff and I'll think, was that even any value? Because I'm here just to add value, right? So I was just telling a client this morning, I said, the worst advice I ever got about my business was when I first started my business 17 years ago, it was from someone else who was in the caring. I'm in the caring field, right? And they said to me, the best advice I can give you is never get emotionally involved in your clients. And I remember thinking at the time, God, you're stupid. Like, I just thought that was the dumbest thing. If you're in the caring field, don't you have to care? It doesn't mean that I stay up nights worrying about everybody, but I'll tell you, my emotions are heavily invested in those coaching sessions. I work up a sweat in those sessions. But I remembered that. I always thought that was the dumbest advice I ever got. They won't remember me anyway. So I remember who it was, but they won't remember me. And that was back when I used to specialize in teen crisis work. So I can kind of get where they were coming from. Yeah. Oh, about being a leader without being strong-willed. Yeah, leaders are not stubborn because leaders are accountable and bendable and vulnerable and caring, and like you gotta listen to your kids too. They have to have a voice. So yeah, stubbornness is something I've never had it. I don't quite understand that. I'm very black and white. I hate that. But if someone says, "Have you ever tried it?" No, but I know I'd hate it. Well, here it is. Oh, okay. Oh, I like it. Like I have no pride or dignity with that stuff. I have I'm very impressionable. I'm always looking for better ideas, better ways to live, better ways to be fit, better ways to eat. You know what I mean? I'm always open to new ideas. But I'm selective about what I try too. I got to trust the person who's giving this advice. They have to know what they're talking about. But yeah, I'm not stubborn. But I love kids. And I've been working with kids for 52 years and I know what they need. I meet their needs and I manage their wants. Their love language is play and fun. That's their love language. That's how you connect with them. You don't connect through discipline. You don't connect through having these mini therapy sessions discussing what they're doing wrong. Never discuss their bad behavior. Huge mistake. You deal with it and then you focus on the good kid. Don't discuss the bad behavior. They already know it. It's berating, bullying, nagging. It's mean. Where you put your focus, where you put your energy is what grows. I know parents do this all the time. They want to discuss, you know why you shouldn't have done that because they already know. And besides, they don't need to know. They don't need to know every detail of what they did, why it was wrong in every single detail. It's kind of a vendetta for you to do that. It probably feels good for you to do that, but it's very mean. I don't do that with kids. Yeah, that was bad. Here's your consequence. Now you ready to go to the park? That's it. That's it. They get that. That's why I get respect. Because I know what they need. They need fun, they need love, they need acceptance, and they don't need to be berated about what they do wrong. I don't ignore anything, by the way. I don't let anything go. but I deal with it like that. Like that's the pool story. That's the very first video I've got pinned here. It's called the pool story. And it explains it all. I don't take any crap, but I deal with it. And then I focus on the good kid. My goal with kids is always to make them like themselves when they're with me. When that happens, they just naturally like you too, and they want to please you. It's a natural instinct. Has anyone ever made you feel great about yourself? Would you ever be mean to that person? Like my weakness is fitness. If someone says to me, oh, you're beautiful, and I'm like, who cares? But if they say, oh, you're really fit, I'm like, oh, thank you. I'm all over them, right? That's my Achilles heel is my fitness. I'm very vain about fitness. So that's my thing. So if someone makes me feel good, that's my thing. If they talk about me being fit, I'm all over them, right? Think about that. When someone makes you feel good about yourself, would you ever be mean to them? Kids are no different. If you make them feel good. I remember when I worked with teenagers, one of them said to me years later, I didn't like myself until I met you. And I thought, wow, that was the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me, I think. Yeah. Now, were those teenagers pleasant to be around initially? Not so much. Did I focus on their unpleasantness? Never. Never. Did I take crap? Nope. Did I focus on the crap? Nope. What did I focus on? Connecting, finding the good in them. Some of them were so vile. I even used to say to some of them, because they knew I was funny, so I could get away with stuff. I'd say, you're quite repugnant. I can't find anything to like. I need a microscope or something. And then they'd laugh, and I'd say, oh, I can connect with that. So, it's about connecting. Age we teach about money. Okay, look up. Actually, I got to get going. Got my granddaughter coming over today. Well, she's not driving here on her own. She's 7 months old. But anyway, so check out my video. Oh, shoot, what's it called? Oh, chores versus allowance. It's my best video on allowance. So you never pay for chores, but they deserve to get an allowance anyway. And it explains how you do it. I started at the age of 3 with my kids. I should do a video on this thing I did with my son, how I use the allowance. It was just a fun thing that we did. And it's another leadership skill, right? Anyway, I got to get going. Check out my link above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses. I have 2 of them, one for toddlers, one for 3 to 12-year-olds, or you can look into coaching. I have a wait list for that, but I am planning on taking on some new clients this weekend. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me, and take care. Bye now.